Today I'll be counting down the 20 best moments at Kings Island. I did a video of this style a couple months back for Cedar Point, but this time I'm going to take a swing at the other Ohio theme park in Kings Island. Just like last time, this list is not restricted to just roller coasters. It can feature flat rides and other rides as well, but other than that, let's hop right into the list. Last place on the list is Racers First Hills. Now, just because it's last place on this list does not mean it's bad. It's quite actually the opposite, being that these hills are nice and can describe the racers as a whole. The hills are low to the ground, and since it's right after the first drop, you fly over them, getting some nice flutter airtime, and since it's so smooth, it helps its case even more. Overall, just solid airtime for a smooth wooden coaster. The first flat ride on the list goes to Delirium's Max Height Swings. I'm not the biggest Delirium guy, being that I think it's quite small compared to many other rides in similar design, and I think that the restraints are legitimately terrible, but the swings at max height are pretty fun. At the apex, there are some nice floaty sensations. The only problem is that the restraints limit that feeling, and it's only for like 3 swings, so not a lot of time. 18th is Orion's Airtime Hill. Overall, this is just a quality airtime moment and a good airtime hill. Even though there are trim brakes and they can hit hard sometimes, there is some quality air here. There is some nice floater across a couple of seconds just because of that pure size, being that it's a good 100 feet tall in the air. Not mind-blowing, just a solid airtime moment that no one can hate on. Up next is Flight of Fear's Corkscrew, my favorite inversion on this ride pretty easily. After the mid-course, you slowly start making your way towards the ground in some smaller, quick turns and small drops, and at the climax is that corkscrew at the end. Because of that build-up of speed, you absolutely fly through this thing. You get good whip basically everywhere in the train, especially good in the back, and is a pretty solid ending to the solid launch coaster. Orion's Helix lands here. This Helix surprised me a lot the first time I rode Orion, since I didn't think it was going to be all that, but it was pretty good. It's such a drawn-out element, and even though it might not be 4 or 5 Gs or anything crazy, just the length is crazy and makes it feel a lot more intense than it actually is. A bit of an unusual element for a huge Giga, but it's a good moment of positives. 15th place goes to the Bats Low to the Ground Turns. This is one that has multiple elements, since there isn't one that stands out, but I think that just the overall final turns as a whole are very good. I love the suspended model, and I think that on this ride, it's amazing since you feel like you're going to smack right into a tree or scrape the ground. And you are also hit with some positive G-forces that are very strong for a ride that's on the family thrill side. A underrated one with backlot stunt coasters, Triple Helix, is up next. This is in contention for one of the most intense moments in the park, and just because it's on a family coaster, doesn't look like it's a lot, but don't let it fool you. You hit this element right after the first launch, so you're hitting it with max speed, and the length on this thing is unmatched. It's a straight 10 seconds of positives, and it might not be like a positives of like 4 Gs or anything crazy like that, but still, being pounded with all those positives are very, very fun. Banshee Zero G Roll is 14th. Good inversion overall on the longest inverted coaster in the world. It's kind of a modern B&M version of the Roll, being that it's not as whippy or intense as some of the older B&M models like Raptor or Great Bear, but even though it's slower, it's still great. You go through getting some solid floaty feeling, and just the roll being so huge makes it even better. Flight of Fear's launch lands here. Overall, this is a solid launch using those LIMs. Nothing out of the world here, but not super slow like other launch coasters like Mach or something else like that. You go at decent speed, and the acceleration is also pretty good. I do think that there are other launch coasters in the carts for Kings Island's feature, but for right now, this is the best in the park. 11th is Orion's Speed Hill. This is just a good moment of airtime on Orion, and I like it a lot. Speed hills are one of my favorite elements on B&M rides, and it's done really well here. Unlike most speed hills, it is amazingly sustained here instead of just the quick pop, which I do like to sustain a little bit more. And it doesn't sacrifice on the quality of airtime either, since it's still amazing flow ejector airtime all the way through. Next up is Banshee's First Drop. Compared to the other B&M inverts that I have been on, this one clears the rest of them pretty easily. In the back, it is like nothing else, being that there is no pre-drop section, so you just dive straight into the ride. And because of that, you are whipped intensely down this drop. The whippiness is so great, it makes it one of the best drops in the entire park. Back-to-back Banshee moments up next with the Pretzel Knot. This is probably the most unique inversion that I've been on, being that there is a total of one of them in the entire world. You rise into a dive loop looking element, and at the bottom, those forces are bone crushing, being so intense. Then you rise into a Immelman straight from the dive loop, continuing those Gs. Very, very intense double inversion right here. Diamondback's first airtime hill is number 8. This is one of the best airtime moments in the entire park in my opinion. In the front, you hit the crest of the hill, and you are thrown out of your seat with some borderline ejector airtime. It's the best moment of airtime on Diamondback other than the first drop, and it rivals the 5-second floater hill on Mako in my opinion. 7th place is Mystic Timber's low to the ground airtime moments. I'm kind of cheating here since it's multiple elements, but I had to include it on the list. There isn't one hill in particular that's better than the others, all of them are just really good. The sequence of going from hill to hill, getting thrown out of your seat with good floater and laterals, even though I'm not the biggest fan of laterals, are good, great, and are pretty forceful for a wooden coaster. Orion's final pop of airtime is up next. I love what B&M did here a lot. I love the whole untraditional Giga approach that B&M did for Orion, and this little pop at the end is one of the results from that. You rise into what you would think just be a turn into the brake run, but instead you were surprisingly dropped sideways into an ejector airtime moment. Short but sweet and a good finishing element to this ride, and probably the best ejector pop on the ride. The highest non-roller coaster element on this list is Drop Tower at number 5. Man, some drop towers legit scare me more than roller coasters do, and this includes this one. Dropping 300 feet straight towards the ground is some nightmare stuff, and the stomach dropping feeling is like nothing else. It beats every single roller coaster stomach dropping feeling pretty easily. Also, the brakes kick in super late, only 50 feet above the ground, so it feels like you're gonna smack straight into the concrete. This is some elite stuff right here. One of my favorite rides at Kings Island. The Beast Double Helix is number 4. I think that the Beast is pretty overrated, but this element I will stand with being one of the most insane pieces of track ever constructed. The Beast's final drop being angled is nuts, and then that Double Helix is one of the strongest lateral in G moments I've experienced to date. Then the tunnels make so much noise, it just sounds like an explosion in broad daylight, and then you do another Helix. It's insane. You have to try it. It's insane. Banshee's final roll is the 3rd spot. This is such a unique element, and you can use that word to describe all of Banshee, being that it's not traditional at all, which is why I love this element even more. This ride is intense with its huge bone-crushing elements, and the small roll comes out of nowhere with some amazing hang time. I think it's pretty hands down the best hang time in the park, and I love the untraditionalness here. Diamondback's drop slides in at number 2. This is a near perfect drop, which is why it's number 2, but not quite the number 1. I love this drop because Diamondback has these super long trains, meaning in the back you get whipped over the drop, which is a lot steeper on ride than it looks off. The airtime is so fun with those amazing clamshells. You're able to enjoy every second of it, and this is one of the reasons why Diamondback is one of my favorite coasters of all time. The number 1 spot at Kings Island goes to Orion's first drop. Maybe not the most popular pick, seeing how many people don't like this ride, but personally, one of my favorites. The drop is huge, being 300 feet, and it feels like it lasts forever and just never ends. And you get some fantastic flow ejector the entire way down. There's nothing you could do or tell me to hate this drop or this whole ride. I just think that it's overhated and one of my favorite coaster experiences in the world. Thanks for watching. Tell me what your favorite moment at Kings Island is, because I know you guys probably have different opinions than I do. But other than that, subscribe, vote on my community tab, and have a good day, of course.